What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Insurrection Inc. podcast. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Yo, 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 yo.
That's a way to bring the show in.
Yeah.
I guess you want to take it from here now that you butchered it like that?
Well, wait a minute. Is it our first one-on-one, just me and you episode?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna have a lot of fun then. The two degenerates. If I can say that
I've
word.
done it with Andrew. I've done it with Porter, and with I guess
Monty?
with Bullshito, it's supposed to be one-on-one, but then Bird came in, and then Ace came in, and then it ended up like me, Bullshito, and Ace, and that was a weird fucking episode.
All right.
But yeah,
So how about you tell them what we've been talking about before we continue on?
All right, so yeah, welcome to Insurrection Inc. We are currently trashing other podcasts.
We're not trashing anyone.
No, we respect all the people we were talking about. We like them to varying degrees. We like them, but obviously, every parent has their favorites.
Yeah.
We talked about Pete Quinones doesn't feel like a part of the problem Tom Woods tier show, even though it is in listens. It's like it's up there with Lions of Liberty and Part of the Problem and Tom Woods and all that. He gets a shit ton of listeners, and he has a lot of influence.
And I was the one who said that, and that's no knock against Pete. I love Pete. I love what he does, and like I told you,
I think on here.
Yeah, he's the big fuck. I'm a big fan, and I will point anyone to him about anything anarchism or whatever. It's just like when I listen to his show, though, I just, like I told you, it sounds like I'm reading a very passionate person on poll on 4chan, and I love it. I really do. But that is, in my opinion, kind of like you said it too. He doesn't make it a career. He does this because he enjoys it. He does it because he literally wants to talk about these things and just communicate them to other people in ways they can all understand, which I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think I like his show better than like Part of the Problem in the Tom Woods show, even though I don't put him on the same tier as that show, which it sounds like I'm knocking it, but I'm not.
Yeah, it feels more raw. Like he gets a lot, since he doesn't have to reach that tier, and he's doing this because he likes doing it. His brand is him, so he can change it on a fucking whim and talk about whatever the hell he wants, do whatever he wants. He has so much freedom with this show, whereas if Tom wants to change up the format of his show, it's really fucking tough because people are expecting 5 days of interviews, half an hour to 45 minutes, and they like it when he does a solo episode. Those do pretty well for him, but
I was about to ask, other than solo episodes, though, where he's just getting questions from fans, has he done anything else like that? Like, has he done a solo commentary episode?
Yeah, he's done very sparsely. And he's done them more this year where he just hasn't had guests lined up and he'll like go into personal shit about COVID and he'll just go on completely off whatever he's learned so far. He'll just go and this is what I love Tom for, especially this year. I already respected him before this year because he's just obviously a very learned and accomplished guy. But the direction he's taken with taking on the cult of COVID it's been very good work. But the issue is that when you also listen to Pete Quinones and you get the truth that people don't care about listening to facts or looking at charts or any of that, those episodes are more for people like us from Tom than for someone that you're trying to convince.
Well, write down what you just said about the Pete Tom thing, because I fully agree, people really don't care about the facts, but that's going to come up in a conversation we're going to have after we talk about podcasting. No, I'll say this about Tom Woods: 2020 has probably been, other than what 2008 was for him, his best year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really hoping he writes a meltdown-esque book about these lockdowns, because I would read that in a heartbeat. I'm fortunate enough to have gotten to see 2 of his 3 lockdown talks in person. I'll say this though, and I think it was me and you actually who talked about this in a group chat one night, and it's just something I want to put out there for our listeners. What's ironic is, Tom Woods has called out Jeff Tucker for very good reasons. Jeff Tucker, he kind of flip-flopped. No, now we're not hating on Jeff Tucker. Actually, Jay, I think you and me both have quite a bit of respect for the man.
Oh yeah, no, he's great on Bitcoin.
And he's been awesome this year. And I found it kind of ironic that these two people who most likely hate each other have probably been the two best people in the liberty movement when it comes to critiquing these lockdowns for what they are. That's really besides the point of where we're talking about podcast. Now, I will.
It is funny.
I will rip on one person who is very near and dear to my heart. I will rip on their podcasting ability.
Is it Porter?
No, it's not Porter. It's Lou Rockwell. Actually, have you ever listened to the Lou Rockwell show? It's a great show. It really is. Problem is, he only puts them out every like 3 months. In 2019, he did like 8 episodes. But here's the thing: that's Lou fucking Rockwell. He can put out 1 episode a year, and you better damn well listen to it. You know, that's the godfather of liberty. So I can't knock him too much. All right, Jay, what's a shitty libertarian podcast?
Our show.
Yeah, our show's up there. Are we better than E-Militia?
That's not even a fucking question.
All right, good.
Actually, fun fact for the listeners, we're still scheduling with Cotton, but we are going to go on Dissecting Liberty and trash talk the E-Militia, because that's something that he's been doing with Derek from... Oh god, Twitter has gotten so weird.
Burning
Boots.
It's
not Burning Boots anymore.
Oh, what?
Now the Fagcast became Timeline Earth, and one of the co-hosts of Burning Boots left. They're the Fagcast now for a couple of months.
That's why. Okay, so we record on Discord, and today, whenever I was getting ready because we recorded twice today, I was like, when did I get put in the Fagcast Discord? That makes a lot of sense. That makes a whole lot of sense. I don't see the Burning Boots podcast page anymore.
No, Timeline Earth does not have this. I don't think they had like a Discord thing at one point, but they don't have one. It is Burning Boots. Derek and Davey wanted to figure out like what to brand the show after Kyle left, and then they were just...
Oh, I didn't realize Kyle left.
Yeah, Kyle left a couple episodes ago. I don't listen, so I like catch up on this drama last week.
Yeah,
well, it's not drama. They're still on good terms.
I catch up on this drama through you.
Yeah, it's not even drama. They're all still friends, but yeah, Kyle left to go do some other shit, and they just rebranded. They even have the Fadcast intro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking right at the Fadcast logo with all of the original members on it as the new Burning Boots logo. I'm calling them Burning Boots because that's what they were, and I'm still going to call them Fadcast because that's what they were. I'm never going to say Timeline Earth.
Yeah, so we're going to get on Dissecting Liberty with Cotton and Derek, and we're going to shit talk the E-Militia. We're going to pick an episode to dissect and talk crap about, just like Thomas talked shit about our show, or Bullshito.
It's like Thomas. Ooh.
Yeah, Bullshito. I'm on first name basis with him for some reason. I hate the guy. Don't know.
What's a libertarian podcast you think is great, but you yourself can't listen to? Like it just doesn't do it for you.
Lines of Liberty.
I honestly, I've listened to them one time, and I'm with you, man. Like I can't shit on them because they present themselves well. I think it's just they have great guests and they have great topics. It's just aimed at normies.
Yeah.
And I don't like using that word.
Yeah,
I think it's a very faggy word.
Yeah, when I got into anarcho-capitalism specifically, like I was very libertarian for maybe a year at that point, like, or half a year, as we've talked about before on the show. I like just went into a dive for all the podcasts, and obviously Lines of Liberty comes up, and I listened to it a lot. Like I was doing a lot of driving, so I was listening to a lot of Lines of Liberty. But then at some point, it's like it doesn't do it for you anymore. No, a show that I don't like.
Only
Jason Stapleton's show.
Oh yeah. What show was that again? I remember talking about this with you before.
Fuck, I don't remember.
Because it is ass. It's terrible.
Jason.
I just don't like that guy. I just don't like him.
Wealth, Power, and Influence. Yeah, he is fucking terrible.
What a fucking douche chill of a name. Ugh, that gave me douche chill. Wealth, Power, and Influence. What are you doing? What are you, an inspirational speaker?
Yes, that's exactly.
That's better.
That's exactly
just do that.
Wealth, Power, and Influence is like listening to to a motivational speaker for an hour, whose co-host eventually chimes in.
Oh, it's like
And
Bro, no, it's those fucking cringe YouTube guys that are like, I can teach you how to make 50K in 3 months if you just follow my lifestyle plan.
I got a
Like,
Facebook group. I got a Telegram group. You know, if you join the Jason Stapleton Inner Circle or whatever the fuck it's called, then you're gonna be in touch with a bunch of other entrepreneurs and successful people. And that's his pitch every fucking episode. I listened to a
I'm
couple of them and it was like, you are an asshole. I don't like
a scam artist.
Yeah. I remember because I remember
That's scammy shit.
the first time I'd heard of him was on the Lines of Liberty. They're doing a Thanksgiving special. And they were interviewing Johnny Rocket and Raylene Lightheart from Blast Off, which is a decent show, but they don't put out as much anymore.
Man, you know more shows than I do.
Oh, I am very familiar with a lot of libertarian podcasts. Like I said, deep dive. And so they had this guy on, and they were doing a rapid fire question section, and they asked him Jason Stapleton, or at the time, Pete was still Mance Raider.
Yeah,
And they
yeah.
really put him on the spot with that one because Pete was talking heavy shit in Jason Stapleton's Facebook group because it's full of minarchists. And Pete was just stirring the pot in the way that Pete does, and he got himself banned. But how can you not like Pete, even if you don't listen to his show? He as a person is just fun and cool.
Okay, dude, I hung out with Pete in Auburn, and I know Porter's brought it up on the show before. He's awesome.
Mhm.
I mean, there's really no cooler dude. So the one thing that popped into my head was I was friends with him on Facebook before this, but the whole time I was like, he doesn't really know who I am. I mean, I'm just some fucking college student, you know. Why should he know? Like, like I wasn't down on myself about it. I was just like, that's just the way it is.
Mhm.
Well, one day during lunch at Mises U, he showed up for the weekend because he was showing his movie, and I'm just sitting
Great
down with some
documentary.
people I don't really know. Yeah, Monopoly on Violence.
Check it out if
And
you haven't. It's great.
yeah, it's great. Anyways, yeah, I was just sitting there at lunch, and I forget who I was sitting with, but I wasn't really paying attention. I was just kind of chilling, looking around the room, you know. And I see Pete, and he's looking kind of at me, but I think he's just more looking in my direction, and he waves. And in my head, I'm like, he's just probably waving at Tom Woods or something. And so, but for some reason, in the back of my head, I'm like, turn around and check. And I look over, and there's no one behind me. So I look right at Pete, and then Pete looks at me and is like, no, you. He recognized me from Facebook and was saying what's up. So that was awesome. That's what told me he was cool as fuck right off the bat. I mean, I already knew he's cool as fuck. I followed dude for about a year before this. But I go up and we talk for like, dude, we must have talked for like an hour and a half, just about everything. And I'm not gonna get into that because you know you had to have been there. But
Which I wasn't, sadly.
really cool dude.
Which I wasn't, sadly.
Yeah, you were, sadly. But one of the cool funny things that happened was he was showing his documentary, and in his documentary he gets interviewed for a bit. And I just laughed about that. And whenever we were leaving after the showing of the documentary, I just walked up to him and said, can you believe this asshole putting himself in his own documentary? And he just laughed and gave me a hug. And that was the last I saw of him at Mises U. But yeah, he's a cool ass dude. Pete's great. Now, the only Liberty podcast, well, I listened to two. The first one I'll say is Death to Tyrants podcast with my good friend Buck. Great dude, entertaining show, amazing guest. If you are a paleo libertarian like myself, check it out. It's the paleo libertarian podcast. I will say that. However, the only one I've listened to every day, Ron Paul Liberty Report, because it is a white pill. You know what you need to know, but you still are white pilled, man. And we need more optimism. I mean, I'm an optimistic person. I got a little pessimistic today when we recorded earlier, but I'm ultimately an optimistic person. Yeah. And that show, you know, even though it can be a little bland at times, and it's just simple, and it's really information I already know. The thing is, you got to have respect for Ron Paul. The dude's been through so much. He's 85, 86 years old, does it every weekday, along with writing an article. every week. So I just, as a sign of respect for the dude that got me into the liberty movement, I have to listen to that show, man. It's great.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And I always love how every time he opens it with Daniel McAdams, he does some kind of joke. It makes me laugh so hard and it touches my heart.
And Dan McAdams,
But
fucking baller. Dude got banned off Twitter for calling Sean Hannity a retard.
Yep, that dude. I am so happy he's the director of the Ron Paul Institute. And then Chris Rossini, also great. I'm also very happy he's there. He's his co-host on Fridays. Yeah. Dude, I don't know if you saw, but I had a question asked in the last Ron Paul Q&A on the Liberty Report.
No, because here's the thing. I used to listen to the Liberty Report a lot more. Like, when I say I used to have a lot of free time, I had a lot of fucking free time because I would drive half an hour to school, put a podcast in the car. I'd be walking to class, which was like 10-minute walk. I'd have a podcast on. Then I'd have lunch after class. I'd have my headphones on, listen to podcasts. So I was consuming podcast after fucking podcast after podcast. So I was listening to whatever I could get my hands on. So I had Ron Paul going daily, but at the time I was using the podcasting app from Apple to listen to all my podcasts on, which Ron Paul's distributed on that. But then I switched over to Spotify, and he does not have.
And he doesn't do Spotify.
Yeah, so I don't go on to the iTunes one as much anymore, and that's a shame because also Pete's new show on Loose the Goose with Vin Armani and Jack Spirko and all those people. Also CJ Kilmer from
Just on
Asians
iTunes?
History. It's only on iTunes.
Just on iTunes.
Yeah.
I haven't checked that one out yet.
I've listened to
but
a
it
few.
sounds kind of like Pete honestly reminds me a lot of Keith Preston.
Mhm.
Lot of
That's
like,
funny because that's where I discovered Keith Preston from.
yeah. I remember you telling me. Well, Keith Preston also has a show like that called Kick the Puppy.
Oh yeah, on his website. I remember that. Kick the puppy.
Yeah, I know that's a funny title. Yeah, I wonder what he. I haven't actually checked out his recent stuff, so I wonder what he's been saying about this whole election thing. Because he's I know he's kind of leftist.
Mhm.
I don't even know if I would call him a leftist anymore, but he's a smart enough man to where I would wonder what his nuanced view on this election might be. I don't really want to talk about the election too much.
No.
That was just a thought I had because
I don't really.
Keith Preston's always an interesting dude.
Politics in general, I just want to sort of move away from it, and also the libertarian theory in general because it's just been overdone. You know, like it's still good. I still want to touch on it from here and there, but I think there are just better things we can talk about when we're on air.
Well, this is a great way of transitioning to what we were going to talk about. And before we talk about specifically what we talk about, I will say this. I guess what you're saying, I do kind of agree with, but I guess it's also depends on what you're coming at it from. Because like I always say all the time, I want to try and reach, common laymen and bring them into this side of thinking, into our side of the culture war. And I think the way I have to do that is through simple, libertarian philosophy and stuff like that. And that's why I rely heavily on, Ron Paul and Lou Rockwell's work myself. But going on to what the main topic of the conversation was that me and you had already planned. And Jay, I'll let you take it from here because you had a direction you wanted to point this in.
Yeah.
But you wanted to talk about the Libertarian Party.
Yeah. So to start, I would just like to say that obviously there's different strategies for different people, and some people are better at communicating libertarian ideas, and it will be better for them to be fully equipped and discuss that with people. But when it comes to reaching the layman, it's tough because this is something that, do you know Agora Brewing on Twitter?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so this is something that he pointed out in a Discord server that I'm in with him the other day. And what he basically said is that the majority of people either end up in the auth-right or lib-left quadrants because those are the ones that have more of a cultural stance. And this is something that Dave Smith has been talking about for a while. This is something that Pete's been touching on lately. And it's that people don't really respond to the esoteric, but not even esoteric, but just the nature of what the lib right and the off left talk about, which is it's always based in economics. There's very little room for culture in a discussion about libertarianism. And that's why I think it's sort of been a little bit of a losing strategy for us, because we've been trying this message of, well, if we just learn enough shit, we read enough books, and we just spread that as much, that we're going to win over hearts and minds. And it works to an extent, because the libertarian movement has grown from what it was in the 70s, but we're still not at a point of relevance. We're still on these fringes, and we just come off as these weirdos that are constantly talking about economics, and we're just Republicans that like to smoke weed and all this shit. We've really failed with culture.
Well, I'll make one point about this really quick before we talk about the party. One thing I think that kind of works, though, against the favor of right-wing libertarian type culture, is that it's just kind of looked down upon. Left-wing libertarian culture and right-wing alt-right culture are kind of accepted and praised in certain ways, even though they oppose each other. Those are just the accepted norms that to go by in society. It's either you're a patriot or you're a globalist type. You're, for law and order or peace and love type deal. That's just how simpletons in America see it. These same simpletons, when they see our stars and bars, and they, see our things like, what right-wing anti-government types culturally do support, culturally are, Christians, white straight males who like traditional marriage and traditional values, but still don't mind others who see things a little differently or do their lives differently, as long as they do it on their own property and in the privacy of their own houses. That's looked down upon, sadly. And I don't, we're honest people. Let's face it, we're honest people. That's what all libertarians are. We're honest about what our values are and where we lie. And the fact that we can't lie about these things where we culturally lie, it's going to work against us, because simpletons are just going to look down upon that without ever really taking a magnifying glass to it and realizing, hey, it's really not a bad thing. We're not imposing shit on anyone. This is just how we see things. And if you don't like it, cool. Like, they just won't ever look at it like that. So, yeah, I mean, we probably won't ever win culturally unless we ally ourselves and build coalitions, which I am totally for, as you know. Yeah, I don't think right-wing libertarians on their own will ever win culturally, though, because simpletons, and like I said in what we recorded earlier today, idiotic pussies, which make up America today, are just never going to give us, our culture, the fair breakdown it deserves.
There is definitely a lot of merit to that, where people are sort of averse to live and let live. But there's a lot more failings of libertarians over the last 50 years that just really show. And a lot of them are the same failings as conservatives. I mean, this shit of constantly playing,
you're 100% right.
playing on the playing field that's been set to you by the opponent. You constantly either, and this is where the Libertarian Party has really failed specifically, but libertarians in general, there is, I mean, just take Gary Johnson in 2016. We're fiscally conservative and socially liberal. And then there's this hostility to people who are more culturally conservative within the movement. And it's really astounding that there's so many people who think that it's simply, well, we like weed and guns. Well, personally, I don't see, obviously I don't see the problem with weed. You obviously don't see the problem with weed. I don't even see why that would be like something immoral for a religious person to do. But that's,
dude, even religious people who don't like weed are okay with weed.
It's like, it's really, that's something that astounds me. That this is what we've allowed ourselves to be boxed into, because we're, not us specifically, obviously, but there are so many people in a movement that end up in the forefront, and all they want is social acceptability. They want to be socially acceptable, so they water down the message, and they allow themselves to be boxed into these things like being socially liberal and fiscally conservative. What the fuck does that mean? Fiscally conservative.
Yeah, and well, yeah, that doesn't mean anything. You're right. Today, that doesn't mean anything because the fiscal conservatives are some of the biggest spenders when they're boys
Yeah.
in office. And now I'll say this: the biggest mistake the Libertarian Party made in 2020 was instead of building a coalition like they should have with these obviously, no need to say it, but I will because I don't want people putting words in my mouth. Groups we don't necessarily support, like BLM, these leftist organizations, groups, whatever. The LP bought into their shit instead of saying, yeah, we'll just build a coalition with y'all on the grounds that we can't agree on. Because there's nothing wrong with doing that, building grounds on whether we can't agree on and building that bridge where we can. But no, the LP full on sold out to their bullshit. And the LP, therefore, de facto supported Biden and Harris for president. You know how many libertarians I saw that voted for Biden, dude? Ridiculous. Pathetic. Stephen Horowitz, the economist. Big dude for Biden on Facebook. All he is like liberal. He wanted Biden to win because he said Biden's going to hold up liberal institutions. First off, that's bullshit. Anyone who's president is not going to hold up a liberal institution in the way libertarians understand the term liberal. Because the liberal institution in the way libertarians understand it will work against the state. Why would anyone with power want to uphold those institutions? So fuck off on that point. Second off, dude, we all know Biden's going to start another fucking war. And Biden is going to, and Trump's shitty economically and with foreign policy. Biden's a lot fucking worse. I'm not saying you need to support Trump. I don't like libertarians who really support Trump either. But don't fucking support Biden, you fucking pussy.
No. Like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, look at Penn Jillette, who was one of the only libertarians in the mainstream. And obviously never like an amazing libertarian. But when you're in that sphere, just like being someone like Penn Jillette was basically like being an ANCAP. And then this year, he just comes out and is like, oh, yes, really? Yeah, I agree with Biden. It's time for our nation to heal. Like, really, Penn? Like, I like Penn because he's a good showman, and he was the only person who was speaking anything like that. And then he just, like, what was that show he did with Teller back in the early 2000s?
Bullshit.
Yeah.
I love that show. Bullshit with Penn and Teller. I love that show.
And there was so much good shit in there where they just smashed through bullshit establishment narratives. And then what does he do this year? Mimics the same bullshit fucking establishment narrative. It's time for our nation to heal. What fucking healing? What healing is going to come under a Biden administration? Like, you're talking about the two people that are probably the most responsible for locking the most people up. You're talking about a dude who has sold out the citizens of America to the banks, has sold them out to the military industrial complex, and stands for everything that half the country is against, and that's going to heal? Talk about an empty fucking useless fucking empty platitude, which is a cancer in the libertarian movement.
I mean, yeah, you hit the nail right on the head there. And the one thing I'll say about people like Penn, Jillette, and even Steve Horowitz, they're few and far between because there's not many people I'll say this for. I really do believe that there are some genuine, good-hearted people out there who are just fucking lost for some reason on this thing, and I don't get it, man. People believe in politics a little too fucking much. It's scary. Politics are nothing but polarization for the idiots and the pussies. Those who know how to play the game will get out of it what they want. Ron Paul, he knew how to do it. He didn't sell out ever, and he got out of it what he wanted. Therefore, he never won anything on the legislative grounds. All he did was win hearts and minds through his speeches and his writings. But that's great. We need more of that, I do believe. But libertarians need to stop thinking we're going to win anything in terms of turning power into good through the political games.
Yeah.
All that we're going to get through the political games is messaging. And that's all the LP is good for, messaging. So let's get it effective at messaging.
Yeah, if you're going to want to actually play politics, you're not going to play clean. Like, that's the Libertarian Party, that they are stuck at a crossroads and they want to split themselves in half and go both ways. They want to attain actual political power, but they're not willing to play the games to get that political power because they don't want to. They believe that they are principled, which is perfectly fine. There's no problem at all with that.
Good, yeah.
Don't go into politics if you don't want to play dirty. Like, you're going to have to be Machiavellian, and you're going to have to spend a long time if you want to tear down the power structure, which is very tough to do from the power structure. It's already tough enough on the outskirts. You want to get into the belly of the beast and tear it out from the inside. Good fucking luck. They could work as hard as they can to get a libertarian president, and it's going to end up worse than the Trump presidency with everything that's going on there. They're going to have to play so dirty to consolidate power over decades, like the progressives have done. Consolidate all this power for them just to even start chipping away at the structure itself.
And the thing that is, I mean, I want to get across, to anyone who is interested in libertarianism is, I think the Libertarian Party is great for people who, like myself, was one time someone who saw all the change, who saw and thought that all the change had to happen through politics. Because of that, I got into the Libertarian Party. Because of that, I got into people like Ron Paul. Through reading Ron Paul, however, I found Lou Rockwell. Then I discovered the Mises Institute, and rest is history. So I think the Libertarian Party is a good, primer for what it is, what libertarianism is, the people who are involved in it to a degree, whatever. For people who see the political game as what has to be done. However, what's crucial is that to these people, we need to get across to them very quickly that, hey, politics is bullshit. Politics is bullshit all around.
Mm-hmm.
All it is a facade for the people in power to keep their power going. The good people are never going to win through politics. We're never going to win through politics. The people who founded this country, you know how they won? Through things like civil disobedience, both peaceful and non-peaceful when they couldn't be peaceful anymore. And as radical as that might sound, that's a position the Libertarian Party, if they want to be serious about spreading liberty, have to take. And they never will. Let's face it, they never will. Because even if the Mises Caucus, God bless them, got total control of that party, they ain't going to preach that. They ain't going to preach that. They're going to want to try and get congressmen elected, senators elected. And who could blame them? Who could blame them? If you're trying to play the political game, that's what you want. But if you're trying to get liberty to the masses and you're trying to achieve liberty, it's not going to happen through the political game, man. Me and you both understand that. And I think there's a lot of great things about the Libertarian Party, but I still, if you're a libertarian who wants to be serious about liberty, there's a lot of better ways to spend your time and resources.
Yeah. And it's that impasse that a Libertarian Party is at. They're never going to be Machiavellian and play the games they need to play to end up in positions of power. It's just not going to happen because they are principled people, and bless them for that. So they're not going to put themselves in a position where they are going to manipulate people and cut throats and step on people and do whatever they need to consolidate power. They're not going to do that. But then they want to act, the people in charge of it want to have that respectability, quote unquote, that someone in a mainstream political party would have. They don't want to take advantage of the fact that they are on the outskirts and can say whatever the hell they want to say because they're never going to win office. And the way that Pete has been saying it, they have no bomb throwers. There is no one out there that is spreading a message that's going to appeal to people, because we can rant, and here's the thing again, we can rant all day about how evil the Federal Reserve is and how it needs to end, and it needs to end. It's an evil institution and it's enslaving people. But that's not a message you can lead with, because the majority of people don't care. You're going to be like one of those PETA activists handing out flyers in a town square that people are going to throw away a couple of feet later. Ending the Fed is a great message, and Ron Paul had a lot of sway on it. but he was reaching people that already were sort of fine-tuned to that sort of message. There's a lot that we can lead with to lead them in, and that's the thing. We need to lead them to a path where they get to that rather than lead
I
to that,
agree
in
with
my
what you
opinion.
said. The only thing I disagree with is I do disagree. Ron Paul, I actually think reached a ton of people like myself who would have never even took an interest in what the hell the Federal Reserve was had he not ever said in the Fed. I mean, Michael Heiss of the Mises Caucus. I have my opinion on that stuff, but he's doing great on what he's doing. And he's said before himself, he wouldn't give a fuck about any of this. He wouldn't give a fuck about liberty had it not been for Ron Paul and his messaging. But here's the thing. While, we'll never exactly have another Ron Paul. But we still will probably have people in office who are great for spreading the message of liberty, like Thomas Massey. I know probably my other paleos are going to hate on me for this, but Amash, I don't think he's too bad. I even like Gabbard a little. Trust me, I don't like the political game. I just take a right-wing populism perspective, and I think they have a part to play there. Not Amash, but the other two, yes. But
Not Amash.
But
Everybody
I
knows my
think,
opinion of Amash.
but I
He's
think
also on
Ron
the
Paul.
Throwback list.
I do disagree. I think he reached a lot of people who became fine-tuned because of Ron Paul. If it wasn't for Ron Paul, dude, I wouldn't be reading any of these 600-page books. I wouldn't be on this podcast. Like, dude, I would be either a druggie or working in the oil field.
But here's the thing. Both of us are removed from his 2008 run because I was 12 years old. You were
I was 8.
You were 8. You were younger than me.
2012 or 2008, because I was 12 in 2012.
2008. So, you're born in 2000.
Yeah, I was 8.
You were 8 years old. I was 10 years old. And here's the thing, where we're removed from it. So now we see, because there's a lot of shit that floats around now of his and the Fed talks. But that was just part of his campaign. It was a big part, but it was part. The thing that really got him notoriety was when he got up on that stage and he just fucked with Giuliani. Because at that time,
yeah, you're right.
At that time, war was the topic. A lot of people were talking about the war. Now we're so far removed from the beginnings of these wars that we've all been raised with this war going on our entire life. So it's hard to imagine something else like not filling its place.
So also, people don't realize we're at war.
Yeah. So the war is not as much of a potent topic as it was in 2008 when the war was still fresh. A lot of people remembered when it was just supposed to be, we're going to go in and nab the bad guys. We're just going to go in and topple Saddam. And then they saw the narrative, just like we're seeing now with COVID. They're seeing the narrative shift every 5 fucking seconds. So his big thing, his breakthrough moment that allowed him to even get onto monetary policy was the wars, which was the hot button issue at the time. But now, if you were to even lead with the wars, well, even Syria, nobody really knows that we have presence in Syria. Nobody knows we have troops in Somalia.
Yemen.
People they either don't know or they've forgotten. And the war in Afghanistan and Iraq have been going on so long that it's just part of your daily life now. It'll be like in 20 years, if everyone's still wearing masks in 20 years, then it's like going and saying, well, once upon a time, we didn't wear these masks all day, every day. And I want to bring you a life where you don't have to wear them. It's not going to be as potent as if you talk about it in the moment that's an issue. So that's my thing, and the Fed still has to be a message. We are the group of people that believe in property rights first and foremost. I mean, that is our thing. Because we believe in self-ownership, we believe in property. Because we believe in property, we believe in markets. Because we believe in markets, we believe in all these other things. That is our logical progression. So but in order to even get someone onto these topics, you need their gateway drug. You need to reach them on the level they're at, and you need to get this thing that is really, really got them going And again, as with some degree with any of this, you have to be Machiavellian because that's how persuading people goes.
I mean, yeah, you're exactly right about that. And even, I mean, let's face it, let's tell the truth here. Rothbard,
Mhm.
he misinterpreted facts sometimes to get people onto our side. I mean, what's that David Friedman story?
Mhm.
Where he's like, the
Yeah,
one thing he
talking
didn't,
about
I mean,
Reagan's
and
act
I
policy.
don't like, yeah, I don't like that David Friedman waited until after Rothbard was dead to do that. However, it's still believable to me, and I could see Rothbard doing that. That doesn't take away from how amazing and great Rothbard was. But you're exactly right. There's a Machiavellian tactic to this.
Mhm.
And Rothbard has won many more people over than David Friedman, and I think we all know why.
Because yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, like, we don't got to say it. I mean,
Yeah.
like if anyone just heard knows that story, they understand why.
Mhm.
But you know, yeah, I mean, you're right, and that's something I struggle with myself because I'm a very honest person. I'm very principled, and I do want to do this. I want to play the political game just so I can spread this message to common people as much as I can,
Mhm.
even if it's just for a year. That's gonna be tough though for someone like me. I mean, we just both know that's true. And if I plan on winning, ugh,
Yeah.
you know how much tougher that's gonna be?
Have you ever
And I'm
taken
fine with that though, and I don't really care about that. I
Mhm.
just wanna spread the messages on. And, there's so much libertarian infighting that I think we don't focus on that enough, and I think that's the most important thing we should focus on, whether you're a libertarian, left, right, whatever. How are we gonna spread the message of don't hurt people, don't take their stuff, and then take that further?
well, have you ever taken the dark triad test?
Dude, I don't even know what the fuck that is.
Oh man. Okay, so when I was taking psychology in 11th grade, our professor or not our professor, fucking college, our teacher showed us this personality test online that is based off it's not based it's directly this test that was developed by psychologists to determine 3 personality disorder traits called the dark triad. It's narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. And consistently, the score that I got the highest was Machiavellianism. I ranked in the 90th percentile for that. So when I want to be, I can be a manipulative person. I am conscious of it. And I don't like being that kind of person. I like being honest and straightforward with people because that's my personal preference. But if you were to put me in the political sphere, then I understand that some things are simple as the way you word a sentence. Like, say you wanted to talk about this year. You could lead with, you are a free individual with bodily autonomy, self ownership, and the right to live your life how you see fit. So it is wrong for the government to lock you in your house. But then they're going to allow rioters to come and destroy your property and your store and your livelihood. You could lead with that. And people will bite on that. There are a lot of people that will bite that. But if you really want to get people going, you lead with the issue first. You lead with, this is the year that you were lied to, that you had your life stolen from you, that these bastards who want you dead, want you in either dead or in submission, they want your children raped and brainwashed. These are the people that have forced you to shut down your business. They forced you to go under home arrest. They've allowed corporations to steal your wealth in the largest transfer of wealth in history. While you went broke on $1,200 for 9 months, and then they want to give you another measly $600, they were bailing out all their buddies in the banks and in the big industries. And then just to spit in your face, when someone in a state you don't belong to, the police in a city that you don't live in, they killed someone, and then in your city, your people are attacked, your businesses are burnt, and if you complain about it, you are a disgusting and awful person who needs to have your life ruined. And this is wrong because you are a person with self-ownership, because you are a person with rights, and they have violated every essence of you. One of those is a message that's going to reach more people, in my opinion. And I think it's the latter.
I mean, I'm 100% in agreement with you, man. The only, and I'm not even contesting that at all. I'm not going to contest that because you're right, and that's the truth. That's how you win the right people over. Thing is, and I hate to say this, the right people are outnumbered by the wrong people, and the wrong people, and I'll say it again, are these idiotic pussies that are the majority of the population in America. And yeah, libertarians are fucking up by trying to appeal to those people. And you want me to tell you how they're fucking up? Go look at any libertarian who's trying to appeal to those people. You can even look at my old post and you'll see how some of the people comment and just deal with that. And that's why, like, this last year, I'm just like, 2020 has radicalized me in the way of, like, yeah, I'm a total right winger. And if you want to call me far right, then I'm far right.
Yeah, same
I
here.
don't give a fuck anymore. Like, I'm not authoritarian. I wish violence upon nobody, but I'm very right wing in my personal beliefs. And I want liberty, man. I'm a liberty maximilianist.
Mhm.
And I don't give a shit if you like that or not. I don't care what your facts are either. I'm not going to change my mind. Like, cool, there's some empirical data that proves government right and whatever. I don't give a fuck because at the end of the day, you're evil and I'm not. I know that to be true. And a lot of people are just so dense fucking headed and stupid and have no confidence in themselves nor trust that they will never, ever feel comfortable with trusting themselves over the herd.
Yeah.
That's why people follow the herd.
And that's
Because they're insecure.
That's where we fail, and that's where we can succeed. Because most libertarians, you try to call them right wingers, and they're going, no, I hate both sides. No. They want to call you far right. Fuck it, you're far right. Say it. Yes,
Own it.
yes, I am
Own
far
it.
right. Piss
And
them
here's
off.
the thing, dude. That doesn't mean I'm like, I disagree with them heavily, but I'm not negating the fucking left libertarians. I'm not negating them at all. I disagree with them heavily. I think most of them are idiots. But there's a few of them that are great at what the fuck they do and know what the fuck they're talking about and have a message worth spreading. And I'm willing to support that. But dog, if you want to call me far right and then treat me like I'm the asshole, fuck off. Get the hell out of my face. I want nothing to deal with you because if you ain't cool with me, I ain't cool with you. It's simple as that. That's libertarianism, though. If you ain't cool with me, I ain't cool with you. So leave me the fuck alone. That's all I'm asking for, And I wish more people that really have no idea about what libertarianism is would take that from us for the truth that it is and just fucking accept it or get it through their goddamn dense fucking skulls. God, I'm sorry to our listeners. I'm being very vulgar and I haven't been this angry as I don't know. Something's up with me today, but it's all coming out and I'm okay.
Dude, I've been angry in general. And it's just
2020 has radicalized me, man.
Yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, call me right winger. Yes, I'm a right winger. Yes, I'm far right. Yes, I want your grandma dead. So what?
I don't want that.
No, that's the thing. So someone tells me you're killing me. Okay, good. And that's where if you follow Aaron on Twitter, go fuck yourself, FEMA R1.
Yeah. I love that guy.
His tirades are fucking like his whole shit about, oh yeah, I want people thinking I wear a mask so they don't know that when I'm in an elevator, I'm pulling it down, I'm breathing on everything that I have. So they don't know I'm a bioterrorist. And if one of them gets sick, then I've achieved it. Like, yes, that's the shit where if these people throw this narrative at you and they want to paint you into a corner so you behave and get back into their playing field, fuck their playing field, break their fucking narrative, give them something they're not used to. Tell them, yeah, that's what I am. What are you gonna fucking do about it?
Yeah. I'm fine with that tactic. I'm just saying that's one I would never use because dude, I love life. and that goes even for my enemies. I think every life is special. I'm very pro-life. Um, I think every life is beautiful. So I wouldn't ever say a statement like that
Oh,
openly.
I am a confrontational
But
person. I'm very much
no,
the
you are, and
the holy
you are.
retribution type. Like,
And that's, I mean, me and you that's a little difference between us.
Yeah.
I mean, me and you are a lot alike, but we got a little difference between us. Like, who's in your face libertarian? Like, I guess Pete Quinones, right?
Yeah.
And who's a very soft spoken, trying to reach anyone he can reach libertarian? Ron Paul.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to call myself Ron Paul. I don't want to call you Pete Quinones, but that is the difference
Yeah,
between us.
those are the
And I
schools of
respect that,
strategy we
though.
follow.
Yes. And I respect that, though, because that has its place.
Yeah. And there's
And I
room for
wish
multiple
more people would.
strategies.
Yes, and I wish more people would understand that and be okay with that. Literally, man. Like, just because like you're one of my best fucking friends doesn't mean I'm endorsing every goddamn thing you say.
Which is another
And
mistake
vice
people make.
versa.
Yeah.
Yes, I was about to say, and vice versa, because that's one of the dude. That's another thing that's killing libertarians. Libertarians are not differing themselves from the herd because they do that. How many fucking stupid bitches do we see on Twitter every day associating fucking Lou Rockwell and Ron Paul with white nationalism because of one thing or another, because they had Jared Taylor featured in their article or whatever, some stupid shit. Look, I'm saying it right now. Lou Rockwell and Ron Paul are not racist, and if you believe that, go eat a fucking dick. Go get it up the ass. Go fuck yourself. And that's not, and like, if you want to take that as me being homophobic, go fuck yourself too. I love my gay friends. I love gay people. So go fuck yourself. They deserve what they want. I'm saying go suck a dick you wouldn't want to suck, bitch, because that ain't true.
I love gay people.
Ron Paul and Lou
They make the
Rockwell,
best interior
yeah,
design.
they do.
Greatest.
Fucking
Bigly.
Queer Eye, top tier show, top tier reality show. I love Queer Eye, but literally, Ron Paul and Lou Rockwell, they are not racist, dog. And I hate when motherfuckers say that. Because I will take you to task anytime any of you motherfuckers say that. Now, look, I can see how y'all would read one of the things they wrote and interpret it as something racist. But here's the thing, motherfucker. You got to know these fucking people. You want to assume something off one goddamn article. Get to know them. Read their fucking shit. All of it. Lou Rockwell has written more articles defending minorities in the war on drugs than anyone I've ever read. And the dude at Mises U was very welcoming to all the black students that were there, which, let's face it, not many, but he was very welcoming to them and very nice. And I got a lot of respect for the guy, very loving person. And Ron Paul, holy shit, come on now. We ain't even got to say Ron Paul gave free healthcare voluntarily to black people. He has a great quote on how racism is collectivism. And we all know, anyone who is woke knows collectivism is fucking cancer. So if you want to sit here and tell me that either of those two men are racist, go fuck yourself. Because you are a fucking idiot.
Look at Lou Rockwell's article from earlier this year telling people
about China.
Don't blame the Chinese people. They're not their government.
Yes. And let me tell the listeners something. I spoke to a goddamn Chinese lady about that at Mises, and she loves Lou Rockwell. And she said that article touched her especially because he was the only one to really come out and say, don't blame the fucking Chinese. If anything, this is our damn fault. And only truth tellers are going to say that. And only pussies and idiots are going to have a problem with that truth. So fuck yourselves if you think that. Go fuck yourselves if you think Lou Rockwell's a racist or Ron Paul. I'm sorry, but that pisses me off more than anything. I will die on that hill.
It's fucking absurd. But
I'm sorry, Jay. I'm sorry, listeners. I just get very passionate. That's,
it is insane. But yeah, man, I'm a confrontational person. I've never told anyone this story really, aside from a couple of people I know. The first schoolyard fight I actually was in middle school, and this was one of the things that turned me libertarian. Fucking zero tolerance policy bullshit is asinine and absurd and does nothing, the person who defended themselves against a bully is also going to get in trouble. Fuck you, you fucking busybodies. Let some kids beat up their fucking bullies and let everyone grow some fucking balls. But in 7th grade, there was this kid who was a real piece of shit. And I have a little bit of a temper that I control, but it was a little more loose in elementary and middle school. And they made this stupid decision in middle school where they were going to cut all the classrooms in half with plywood or drywall. And it just increased the traffic in the tiny ass middle school hallways so much. And there's this asshole who's a grade above me.
Middle school hallways are the worst.
And they just put so much traffic in there because they split all the classrooms in half. And so there's this asshole who was a grade above me. And he was just standing in the middle of the hallway talking to his friends, and I needed to get to class. So I just straight up pushed through him. He's like, fuck you, I need to move. And he pushes me back. And we start having a little skirmish in the hallway, but it gets broken up by a teacher. We go to class. Both teachers decide to give us recess. So when I see him coming, I start talking mad shit to this guy. Like, I see him and I'm just immediately like, you are a real fucking piece of shit. You are an asshole, and karma is gonna bite you in the fucking ass one day. And this schmuck, this piece of shit, decides those are fighting words. So he starts coming at me. I didn't hit the dude. I like grab him by the shirt here and I hold him far away because I could fight at the time, but I didn't want to fight. So I'm just like, yo, keep the fuck away from you, crazy ass piece of shit. A teacher comes and breaks us up, and whatever. He walks away. I walk away. I go to the spot I chill at to listen to some music. Asshole comes up and sucker punches me in the gut and then walks away. He doesn't even stick around. Just walks away. And that's
man, I gotta say that's kind of some mob mentality, dog. Like that's like mobster mentality. Like he's like, hey, it just fucking walks away.
And that pissed me off so much, man. I was seeing red. I started chasing after him. I was ready to smash his head into the fucking pavement. Like if the coach didn't step in, I was probably gonna end up in juvie because I was ready to just bash his head in the pavement. And I got suspended, even though I never hit him. Karma did bite him in the ass. He did end up getting expelled a couple months later. But yeah, I'm a confrontational person.
See, I mean, I've never been too. I can't be a confrontational person, but also, I don't know. I like to avoid confrontation. I get anxiety, man.
Oh man,
like. I'm being truthful. Like, I don't know, man. When people get arguing around me and shit, like, I understand it. And sometimes I get hyped up, but most of the time I just get like, I don't like. Come on, people. Like, I'm just like, stop.
yeah.
Like, I
feel that.
I don't know, man. It fucks with me. So I can't be too confrontational. But if I'm feeling it, man. If I'm 100% with myself and like what I'm feeling is true, then hell yeah, I'm gonna get confrontational. And that does happen a lot more than it used to because I feel a lot more comfortable with myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I like diplomacy, but for other people. I like to step in and be the mediator for other people. But you know what's the thing about a temper? If you have that, like if you're born with a bad temper, you become an adrenaline junkie. Because when you get angry, the adrenaline is rushing through. You are in fight or flight, and you feel that. And my God, is that such a good high.
And I'll be honest, man, I do have a bad temper. And it comes out in the worst times. And I really honestly need to work on it for the better of myself and for those around me because it's wrong to both myself and those around me. But I get 100% what you're saying because I think I'm a high adrenaline type person when I'm at my 100%. And I'd say this last week, I've been at my 100% more than I have been most of this last year. This last year just fucked me up in so many ways.
Yeah.
That's the truth, 100%. And I mean,
that rush, man, that fucking
I'll own up to it.
That
Yeah,
fucking
fuck this
rush.
year,
And that's
man.
why I love confronting people. Because when they take the bait, it's like your body switches and you just feel it pumping. Even behind like a phone screen, but you're just like, oh, it's game time. Like, yeah, let's fucking play. That's also why I love being a performer. Like a lot of people get social
Yeah.
anxiety about getting up in front of a shit ton of people and speaking. I love it. I love
You know
getting up
what?
there and talking to people.
Me and you are the same in that area, and I don't think the listeners know it. I don't know if we've talked about it on the show. I used to be an actor in high school. I was in theater and I did community theater. And Jay, you went to an arts high school, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah, so we're like,
Yeah, and I did some performances for my
so
writing.
basically what I'm saying is me and Jay are a bunch of pussies. Like,
Yeah.
some liberal femboys. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'll be honest, I'm like a Clint Eastwood type, if I'm being, totally honest.
Mhm.
I'm quite the sexy, badass motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm more of a Steve
And
McQueen.
Jay, you're quite the writer. Jay, you're quite the writer, I will
Yeah.
say. I've read your high school stories.
Oh man, those were just because I did not give a shit about the prom. So like, I'm gonna have my fun with this because that's my personality summed up: trickster and confrontational person.
I haven't thought about those stories since until now, but I remember reading them in the summer. And then I also remember finding your address online.
Yeah, yeah.
You were like, get rid of that Stratty when I said it in the group chat. That was terrible, and I hope that's no longer there, but it probably
That
is.
was hilarious. But yeah, man, like was like that adrenaline rush you get from fighting. The adrenaline doesn't discriminate. When you're up in front of a crowd and you're about to do something risky, you get that same rush. And that's why like I love doing the show because I don't get the same rush, but it helps me simulate sort of getting up in front of people and influencing them, talking to them. I like that. It scratches that performance itch that we have. But I would love to get up on a stage and just deliver a message to people and get them riled up and get them thinking. And you and I
Yeah,
would
dude.
do that in two completely different ways. But the way I would do it would just be so much fucking fun for me.
I mean, yeah, dude, like, I would love to do, acting again. And, like, really what I would like to do because the best way to reach these, like we say, the common layman, the greatest people in America, I must say,
Mhm.
is through entertainment.
Mhm.
Because let's face it, we wanna be entertained. And, a good great movies, great video games, great TV shows
Mhm.
can influence someone in some great ways. I would love it if there was a great movie or, show or game that carried a libertarian message, and, like,
Mhm.
yeah, there's games like Deus Ex, um, Metal Gear Solid, which have, like, quasi-libertarian type messages in certain ways, whether politically or philosophically. Um or I guess in the case of Deus Ex, conspiracy types. Um, and like there's great movies like They Live, but we need more, man.
Mhm.
Like Ron Paul and Lou Rockwell always talk about how people in Liberty should utilize their best talents and try to fight for liberty as much as they can with those talents.
Mhm.
Artists need to do that more, whether it's through music, movies, or TV, whatever, video games, we need that more. That's
Yeah.
something I've actually thought about for a while, and I haven't really discussed much because that's just not something that people really care to talk about. But me and you, I think, would both understand the value in that. Like libertarianism, what you could find it a lot through comedy,
Mhm.
and not even just talking about Dave Smith. Listen to George Carlin.
Mhm.
What's that name? Doug Stanhope. People like that, like they're very libertarian. Bill Hicks. They're very Lenny Bruce,
Yeah, he
who
was talking
is
about
in
yeah, I was
David
about to say, he was
Friedman's.
talking about political correctness in the '60s.
Yeah, yeah, and he's in, and like the only cool thing David Friedman has ever done was put Lenny Bruce in the intro to Machinery of Freedom, a quote by him. Um, but yeah, I mean, like you can find that in comedy a lot. the problem is most people who listen to comedy don't even realize what they're listening to.
Mhm.
Like, I love comedy, but I know I'm just listening to it to laugh and enjoy myself. Like, if I remember it, I remember it. But like Bill Hicks, I'll say this: Bill Hicks had a substantial influence on me from middle school on. But I wasn't I never became a libertarian because of him. Once I became a libertarian, though, I realized what 100% exactly what Bill Hicks meant with some of the things he said.
Mhm.
Um, but I mean, what like what are your like? Do you think what are some movies or video games, music, whatever have I missed? Like you off your head that
Well,
are good for liberty
one of the
or like
ones that really challenged me was I got into a lot of 80s hardcore punk when I was 14 or 15, and the Dead Kennedys did a lot
yes,
did a lot to challenge my views as conservative when I was 15.
yep. Favorite Dead Kennedy song? What's yours?
Ooh, either Terminal Prepper or Police Truck.
Terminal Preppery, yes, that is up there for me. I really love. We've got a bigger problem now
Oh, yeah.
because I'm a big Reagan guy. I love Reagan's like the
Yeah.
history of Reagan, and that song just goes off.
Oh, actually, I Am the Owl.
Yeah, that's another good one. That one's about Nixon. Most people don't know that. I love that one too. And there's another that album. That's my favorite album by the Kennedys, Dead Kennedys. I can't even think Plastic Surgery Disaster, something like that. But
Yeah.
another song off that album, Moon Over Marin. That is
I
a
love
great
that one.
song too. I love
Like,
that one too. But no, the sad thing is Jello Biafra is a Bernie supporter now, or
yeah.
Elizabeth Warren, something like that. He wanted people to vote for Biden.
Mhm. Yeah, fuck Jello. That's all I got is fuck
Yeah.
Jello. Jello's a piece of shit. But yeah, a lot of people also miss Robert Heinlein, who a lot of people are familiar with his work, but they really misread it. Like Paul Verhoeven, when he directed Starship Troopers, he really just thought Starship Troopers was fascist propaganda and wanted to make fun of it, and he didn't realize that Heinlein was doing an anti-war and anti-nationalism message. Um,
Well, I haven't read that yet, but I haven't even seen the movie either.
I don't like watching anything from Paul Verhoeven. I really hate that guy. He's a prick.
Do you want to keep discussing this, or do you want to talk movies? Because I hear now that we're talking directors and
Let's
movies, I
let's
kind of
just
have an issue.
let's just wrap up the LP real quick. One
All
thing I
right.
think they've really failed at this year, obviously, is Joe Jorgensen's fucking message of supporting Black Lives Matter when people's businesses were getting burnt down, and just their
Ugh. And then
absolute
supporting
failed
businesses
messaging.
firing people.
Yeah, and it's like there is a moment here. You can steal so much support if you just say the right thing, and especially now, like you have a lot of people in the movement that don't want to talk to Trump conservatives, but the Trump conservatives lost, and they're pissed. And if you come at them with the right message, these are already people that have a lot of values in common with us. We could easily start getting them on our side if we just say the right fucking things. And they are just the Libertarian Party is so fucking stupid. Like, what did the Libertarian Party do in a state that is controlled by the Democrats in stealing Trump supporters from the Republican Party and radicalizing them into libertarians? There's a lot of fucking potential there. But their message instead is stupid woke progressivism targeted at bougie prog assholes that are never going to be libertarian.
Yeah, and like earlier, what I said about what the message they should take on if they really want to spread liberty. That's what I mean, and that's what I stand by.
And dude, just imagine
Uh,
the bombs you can throw. Like, look at these people, everything they've done to you this year, then they spit in your face. They talk about democracy and undermining it for 4 years. Then they spit in your fucking face and they rig an election and they laugh at you about it. The government has failed you and there are no more solutions in there. So why don't you come listen to what we have to say about building yourself up, building communities, supporting each other, and freeing yourselves from this system that has stomped on you and laughed at you about it. That's a
yep.
message.
I mean,
That's a fucking
you're
message.
100% right. Yep.
But movies. movies.
Yeah. So let me
Spaghetti
think.
westerns.
What's a
Spaghetti
good movie you've seen lately?
For a few dollars more.
Ooh, Clint Eastwood. The Good, the Bad, the Ugly series. That's a good one.
Fucking bounty hunters. Like, that is the market making a fucking solution. Like, you got criminals? They're too dangerous? Hey, you got some crazy motherfucker that's gonna go walk in enemy territory and bring back some fucking bodies of people that have been stealing and killing. That's libertarian. They're doing it for money. They're not harming anybody
And
except the people they're gonna
Clint Eastwood himself is very libertarian, you know?
Yeah.
Ultimately he is.
He's even an LP,
Now,
which for a
yep,
Hollywood actor is insane.
pretty substantial.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um now
Kurt
I
Russell's
saw a good
libertarian.
Western movie. Yeah, I knew that. But he also doesn't think celebrities should talk about
No.
politics, and I love
Which is,
that.
yeah, that's nice. I like that. Kurt, I love his acting and I love him. He is great.
Yeah. Well, Bruce Willis is probably libertarian too. He doesn't like talking politics either. He's like,
Yeah,
celebrities should shut the fuck up about this.
Bruce Willis leans Republican, but no, like, a lot of Republicans just have a lot because of the way America is set up, like our history. Conservatives just naturally tend to have a lot of classical liberal values versus European conservatives.
Yep.
So it's like,
And that's cool.
Yeah.
I take pride in that.
yeah. So it's like, yeah,
And
let's reach these people instead of the people that want to burn down businesses.
a good libertarian movie. Oh, it's not even really libertarian. It's just great movie to make people realize the government's fucked up. I saw recently is JFK, about the conspiracy around his assassination, starring Kevin Costner. He's the main dude. Joe Pesci's in it. So is Kevin Bacon. But it's a great movie, and dude, it was like I watched the uncut version, and wow, I fully believe in the fact that the CIA. I mean, I already believed it, but now like I 100% stand by it. Like, dude, there's no way with all these weird connections that Oswald he didn't assassinate JFK.
No.
Yeah, anyone who you need to convince that of, just tell them to watch that movie. The director, the uncut version. Sorry, I don't know why I keep saying directors.
Yeah.
The uncut version of the movie, because that gets into Oswald's backstory.
Apocalypse Now.
I didn't really like Apocalypse Now when I
Really?
watched it. That's one of those movies that people praise to death that I couldn't get into.
I definitely come in movies with a very movie nerd perspective, so like a story like that is definitely going to catch me. Like, it's a very what the fuck is happening story, but I really think it really did a good job of showing the futility of the Vietnam War and showing like, oh yeah, this made people fucking crazy.
There's two kinds of movie nerds. There's the kinds that, like yourself, that appreciate a great story and cinema and all that stuff. And there's movie nerds like me who appreciate a funny, shitty movie that most people hate that has a 5 out of 10 on IMDb. Like, I love movies like that.
Oh, I do
Most people
too,
do not.
but just so I can laugh
Yeah.
at them. I don't actually appreciate them as like, this is fucking hilarious that someone tried to fail so
Oh,
hard.
you don't appreciate them as art?
Yeah.
See, I actually sit down and I appreciate that someone made this, and I have fun watching it. That's just how I look at it.
No, I laugh at how bad it is.
Like, I'll say some movies that most people would say are shitty that I like, that I love actually. Screwed, with Norm Macdonald and Dave Chappelle.
I haven't seen that one.
That's a great movie. I love that. I watched this movie last night, 1941, and most critics hate it. It stars Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi, but not really. It's kind of false advertising because it was the 70s. But I liked it. It was a good movie. There's only two I can think of right off the top of my head. But I like a lot of movies like that, you know? I think a lot of people just shit on those movies. And I think, hey, get off their fucking backs. Let's see you make a movie, asshole.
Yeah. You know what gets a libertarian pass? Movies like Death Wish and
What?
Dirty Harry, because they got the Rothbard seal of approval.
Yeah, because he gave him reviews. I love those reviews.
They're so good.
However, he gave Star Wars a bad review, and that pisses me off.
That was more of a Conkin thing. Conkin, Fat
Oh,
Cock really loved
shit,
Star Wars.
Conkin dressed like a wigga too.
Fat
He had
Conkin,
chains on,
Fat
shades
Conkin
on.
has been one of my favorite things on Twitter. I love Bird for
Yeah,
that one. And I'm pushing
that's
Hoppe as
awesome.
a Marxist, which is actually true. But
He used to be.
not even used to be, like, just his way of thinking is continental philosophy, which is
Oh yeah, you're right.
he thinks in dialectics. It's very Marxist now. He's a Marxist. It's not a bad thing. Like, he's not an economic Marxist, but philosophically, he is. But man, fucking Dirty Harry is just that fucking line where he's just being interviewed by someone from the city, and it's like, and he's telling them, like, if I see someone chasing a girl down the street naked with a butcher's knife, I don't think he's what was it, like, trying to invite her over for tea. I'm gonna shoot that bastard. And it's like, yeah,
I can't. I always say to my dad, I know what you're wondering. Did he fire all 5 bullets or did he fire 6? And all this excitement, fella, I can tell you, I don't know what to take myself. Well, let me ask you. I'm butchering it. Do you feel lucky?
no,
Do you?
it's
Punk.
ask yourself, do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Do you?
I got to know. An empty
I
cylinder. Fucking
I
God.
loved Clint Eastwood, man. I still need to watch the Outlaw Josie Wells.
Yeah, same here.
Gran Torino, though. Have you seen Gran
Yes.
Torino? That movie's awesome. I love that movie.
I said it early on my Instagram. Gran Torino Clint Eastwood is peak paleo libertarian.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. That's it. Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of my grandfather.
Yeah.
And you know how much I love my grandfather, who's no longer with us. God
Yeah.
rest his soul.
Because, Clint doesn't actually harm anybody who doesn't deserve to be harmed in that. Yeah, sure, he says some politically incorrect things, but who gives a shit? He doesn't harm anybody.
Yeah.
Then when the time comes, he sacrifices himself.
We all say politically incorrect shit.
Especially us.
We're humans. Yeah, especially us, because we're honest.
Yeah. Oh, man, what else?
Oh, well,
yeah.
We've been going for quite a while.
1 hour and 20 minutes.
You want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I think this is a good place to wrap it up. Fucking just, if you are someone who has an artistic talent, put your weight into it. You can do a whole lot of good. Like, this is how the communists have gotten so much sway. They dominated Hollywood in the 50s. They really did. And the history books now want to tell you that they didn't, and what Joseph McCarthy was wrong. McCarthy was never looking for Reds in Hollywood. He was looking for Reds in the government. He was right. And the Hollywood was dominated by Reds. That is just a fact. The Screenwriters Guild and the Screen Actors Guild were legitimately controlled from Moscow. So they had a lot of influence because they had a lot of communist writing. If you were a writer, if you are a home filmmaker, if you're a musician, if you're any of these things, you're an artist, put your weight into it. Put libertarian themes in there. Even if someone is not going to explicitly come out a libertarian, you are going to influence people and you're going to plant seeds in their heads. That's just how this shit works. If you want to get into politics, you better be a fucking Machiavellian or you better be a bomb thrower. But you have to be either one of those. You got to pick between them. And if you are a libertarian, please, for the love of fucking God, grow a pair. Don't be some bougie prog neoliberal shit. Don't be a fucking pansy. If libertarianism is dominated by pussies, then we don't have any goddamn hope whatsoever. But if you are willing to take a strong stance and you are willing to get up there and say the shit that needs to be said, and you're going to say it with fervor, and you don't care what heat you're going to catch, then we have some fucking hope.
And you know what? I mean, let's face it, not everyone's going to love you. Fuck them.
And not everyone has to. You're in a room with 10 people, reach one.
Yeah. And you know what? the masses are never going to be on your side. All the people who are right in the world are always the minority.
Mhm.
So be proud of that and stand alone if you got to stand alone. That's all I got to say.
So with that, if you're on iTunes, leave a review for the show. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. Share the show with your friends. Get this message out there. Don't be afraid. And we'll catch you next time.